Hello, I'm Dr. Terry James Gingrass, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat, a show trying to make the world a little safer for ADHDers. I'm a clinical psychologist and neuropsychologist, and I'm also the parent of a couple of ADHD kids. And guess what I married into? I seem to have ADHD all over my life. So I have treated, evaluated, worked with tons of people with ADHD. And one of the things I want to talk about today is marriage and ADHD. Now, you can probably predict this, the general mass research tends to indicate that ADHDers get divorced more frequently than neurotypicals, basically, okay? And one of the things we know from all those sorts of studies is that marriage among neurotypicals isn't doing all that well either. I have, when you do therapy, you get a lot of information about kind of how people in your community, at least, are doing generally. And there's just a real high rate of divorce. And I remember my wife and I went to one of her high school reunions. She was an Air Force brat, so they were over in Spain, and they started having reunions, and we went to the 20th or something like that. And I don't know how many of those people are already on their third marriages, and it was pretty amazing. So anyway, so the research on ADHDers tends to support the idea that ADHDers get divorced more frequently than neurotypicals. Okay. And the other big finding, well, it's not a big finding, it's just an observation that the most typical presentation is that a neurotypical is married to an ADHDer. That's, and I'm the neurotypical in my house, and I've been married a long time. I've been a psychologist for over 40 years, and I've been married for longer than that. So it's been a long run. And I don't think there's anything particularly magic that we did, but there are some things in general about marriage. And I'll just kind of run through these, but first one, and it seems like it should be a no-brainer, but you have to respect your partner. Okay, and I have been to social gatherings and stuff where some guy will start cranking on his wife in public, how she's so this, that, or the other, and doesn't meet his needs, and right in front of a bunch of other people. And it's like, what are you thinking, dude? How's that going to help? Anyway, so respecting your partner. I mean, all of us, yeah, she's your partner or he's your partner. You picked him out of all the other possibilities in the world, and there were some reasons for that. And you'd have to at least respect the reasons, as you get older, it's not so much cute tushy and that kind of stuff. It's more something about them as a person. And it's important to know, and it's important to remember why you decided that this person is somebody you wanted to share your life with, and keep that in mind. And that helps with the respect thing. And just blame is a killer. Blame in a marriage or any relationship really is a killer. And if you're always, it's your fault you do this or that. I hate to tell you this, but if you're the neurotypical, there are going to be some things you're just going to have to tolerate. And, it's not going to kill you, just, but they'll keep cranking about the same things over and over, because guess what? A lot of that is not going to change. like my mother was the cleanest, neatest person I have ever met. I mean, the house was spotless. And I was a kid, I learned to pick up my clothes and put them away because if I didn't, she'd have picked them up and washed them, and I wouldn't see them for 3 or 4 days until they showed up magically back in my closet or my drawer. Uh, and if you're married to an ADHD, that's less likely to be what goes on. And you just have to adapt. You just have to adjust. I have done talks and podcasts and stuff on horizontal organizers, is what I call them. And ADHDers tend to be horizontal organizers. They're way more visual spatial than neurotypicals generally, which is a strength in the right setting, but it's also uh, can be a problem. It's like every flat surface in my house has a pile of stuff on it everywhere. And when it's areas I use, I have to clean it up because I have to get organized because my brain doesn't work real well when stuff is cluttered and everywhere. So you get, but if you move a ADHDer's pile of clutter, they get angry. Don't don't do that. I know where everything is. You moved it. Now I don't know where it is. So you can't just stack all. Well, you can stack the papers if but if you got to keep them in the same order because that's important. And they actually remember that stuff, and which amazes me because if it goes in a pile, it disappears as far as I'm concerned. But for them, they got to have that, and again, you got to respect that's their way of doing things, and if it works, fine, it works for them. Uh, and the other, the huge deal with marriage or any relationship is you have to be able to communicate with each other. Now, I met my wife in college. Actually, I met her my freshman year during orientation week when this was back in the days when there were men's dorms and women's dorms. And they were more like military barracks than anything cushy like they are now with suites and all that. But the powers that be, where I went to college, thought it would be a good idea to have people have some social things. So we had a tag football game with a male dorm and a female dorm and mixed teams from each side. And it was fun. And we met and we started talking and we just kept talking and talking. And other guys tried to break in mostly because there were not many women on campus when I started school. But anyway, but we've always been able to do that. But we've always had to develop a pattern. I'm more organized. I'm logical and all that other kind of boring stuff. And she kind of flies all over the place. But I had to learn to appreciate the way her brain works and recognize that it's different from mine. I mean, she is a master navigator. We were in the Air Force for a long time. And, traveling when you're changing bases, PCSs, permanent change of stations, what they call them, you're always driving into some place you'd never been before. And man, she could find where we were needed to go and all that stuff. And I swear one time she rolled down the window and stuck her head out and, we're going to turn right up there. I joked that it was like a bloodhound or something, but that is something she's got that's a strength and it helped me. So why would I make fun of that? Well, I make fun of it because we do that sort of thing, but always with respect. And that's, it's always respect. If I respect her strengths and abilities and she respects mine, we're going to be fine. And we're going to argue sometimes because we're both firstborn, bullheaded, I'm used to being in charge kind of people. But we know that's not a sign that everything is falling apart and, oh my God, it's going to be terrible. So one of the things, anybody who enters a marriage thinking, "Oh, I don't like this, but I'll help him get rid of that, or I'll help her get rid of that." You out of your mind. Ain't gonna happen. They didn't. They didn't marry you to be trained your way of doing things, and they're probably not going to adapt well if you keep wanting them to change to your way. I mean, there are some things. I mean, they're give and take. I'm not saying that, but you have to adapt and adjust to the things they aren't willing to take, and try to find the strengths in that. Try to find the things that are helpful in that. You know, I have a whole ADHD family, and it's like they get together, and it's, oh, how the heck do you know that? I mean, their minds are like little Velcro things. They collect stuff, bits and pieces of information from everything, from their travels, from the internet nowadays, from books they've read, courses they've taken, town conversation. I mean, just all kinds of stuff, and not necessarily in any one grouping. It's sort of like, well, if you're talking to me, I'm going to be interested in about psychology and neuropsychology and sports and well, right now I'm kind of interested in what's going on with the government. Oh my God. Anyway, but we are, all of us have interests, but the interest pattern for an ADHDer is much broader. And they're just all these little pockets of information. How the heck do you know that? Oh, I read that somewhere or something. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's kind of like, can put you on your heels a little bit. And the thing your job is to do is to adapt and adjust. And you've got to adapt and adjust to your partner's way of doing things. Because you're not going to, people who get into trouble in marriage very early are the ones who think they're going to, oh, my way's better, so we're going to do it. No, it ain't going to happen that way. You have to be able to adapt. You have to remember that you're not there to train him or her. You're there to figure out how to make this thing work. And the one thing I think we all do, or don't do enough, is you have to be supportive, and part of that is being positive. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Lesotho rule. There's no reason you should have, but it was what was he? An Argentinian, I think, mathematician and an American industrial psychologist, and they studied what made effective environments for people. And basically, they found that the ratio of 4 positive comments to every 1 critical comment was about right in a work environment. At home, it not needs to be a little more, 5 or 6 or 7. And, you get complacent about that sort of thing, and you just don't notice. Oh, you got to be positive with people, that are not just because it's Mother's Day, but because you like them and love them, and you want them to know. And one of the ways to let them know is to be positive, or notice their positive traits, notice some neat thing they did for you, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's simple behavior modification stuff, but and that sounds manipulative, but that's not what I mean. People who feel supported, people who look to you as somebody who's supportive and recognizes their positive traits and that sort of thing. That strengthens the bond. That makes you want to stay together more. And so you've got to notice that. Notice. how the heck do you remember that? Because, like, I joke that when I'm not sure of something, I don't go to AI. I first go to Sherry, then I go to AI if she doesn't know. Because, I mean, that's pretty much the way it's been. She does lots of things that are pretty amazing to me, and stuff I personally am not very good at, or or not very interested in, but she gets it done. She's one of those people who uh, can do accounting stuff. She was a certified tax, whatever the heck it is, preparer. Did a did a course, uh, and I mean, it's a 2-day test. It's a big, uh, it's a brain buster kind of thing. And she, certified and and of course, then she promptly quit doing taxes. So, but the strengths are there, and you got to appreciate the strengths. And there is no one way for people to handle things. We went through the whole breast cancer thing, and I was running a caregivers, we called it caregivers, which is potentially condescending, but basically it was mostly the husbands. And they all want, what do I do? What are the rules? There aren't any. The deal is that you know her better than I know her. And so you're going to have to figure out what works for her. Like my wife, doing chemo, some guys went there every time their wives had a chemo session or any kind of a doctor's appointment. They drove them there and da 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 da. Well, you don't do that with my wife because she likes being independent and in charge and that sort of stuff. So very early on, I went to the first session with her, and then after that, she says, "You don't have to do this anymore. I'm okay to do this." Okay, so there's not one way, and there's not one way of being married. You're going to develop your own individual way, as long as you're respectful of each other and communicate regularly and do an occasional praise. It should be a little more than occasional, but show your appreciation 3 or 4 or 5 times a day at least, and things work out better. And it's also helpful if you do some things together. It's not, well, I get up first thing in the morning and I'm out the door going to work, and she's staying, or she's going to her own job, or, and we never see, you've got to have some time together. You got to do some things together. I mean, it doesn't, we've tried sports, but that doesn't seem to work out very well. Well, except we did finally found kayaking, which was really good for a while until both her shoulders went out, and then now we don't do that anymore. But you've got to find some things you do together and you actually enjoy doing together. Uh, we travel a lot. It's kind of cut back recently, but we on her birthday we'd normally go someplace, like Spain or something like that, and spend a couple of weeks. And she really likes that sort of thing. Frankly, I don't mind being in different places. I just hate the process of getting there. Airplanes, my God, I don't know what these companies are thinking, but they are just starting. They treat us like cattle. If you're first class, okay, fine, but flying to Europe on first class, that's a lot of money. Anyway, so I hate to travel, but once I don't like airports. I don't like all the clutter and crowd and blah, 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 blah. But I'll do it. So once I get there, I'm fine. And it's interesting and all that stuff. But she loves trips. She loves planning trips. Da-da-da. Fine. Let's do it. So you've got to make sure you do things together. And the other thing you've got to do to make your marriage strong, it's real helpful if you get along with her parents. your in-laws. Uh, Mine were kind of interesting people. Or my father-in-law was a retired when I first met him, he wasn't retired. He was an Air Force flight surgeon, and a hospital commander and all that stuff. And he probably was ADHD as well. If it hadn't been for World War II, I doubt that he would have made it through college because he was on his way out the door when Pearl Harbor happened and that sort of. So he spent the whole war flying anti-submarine patrols, and when he came back, he met my mother-in-law, and she apparently somehow got him through college, and then he went to Duke Medical School, and then he went to Harvard for public health training, and had a pretty good career. Well, he had a real good career in the Air Force and so on. But he was an interesting kind of guy, and he and I got along real well, which was, sometimes you think, daughters like to marry guys that their fathers hate. But that wasn't our case. We got along real well. And that's kind of important, that makes it that's one less thing she has to worry about when we visit or that sort of thing. So, respect, communication. Don't think you're going to retrain them. Learn to adapt to what you see as the weaknesses, and praise the strengths. It's complicated to apply it, but it's not really that complicated to do. You've just got to keep reminding yourself, she's from North Carolina. I'm from New Hampshire. We don't even speak the same language, and we've had to learn to adapt and adjust to that. And that's a big deal in marriage. And especially, I don't know if it's especially with ADHD, it's just the ADHD part of things tends to be a little more, has troubles with certain things that maybe a neurotypical doesn't have. And you've got to adapt and adjust to that. And occasionally it's helpful if you remember why you got married. Why did I pick this one? Okay. And that's all I got. And this is Dr. Terry James Gingras. This is Dr. G's ADHD chat. And we're still trying to make the world safer for ADHDers. And I'm not sure how good a job we're doing, but we're trying. And my website is terrygingrassphd.com. Look, you go there, you can sign up for my newsletter, which I highly recommend. It's different content from this, which is a lot more work, but it's stuff I enjoy doing, so not a big deal. And then the other thing you can sign up for is I keep forgetting what word they're using to describe it, but it's just an intake. It's kind of a informal meet freebie, and we decide if I could help you with some coaching and that sort of thing. Coaching is a really highly recommended adjunct to all the other training or treatment you're trying to do for ADHD. But that's all up to you. And if you sign up, it's on Calendly, so they make an appointment and they let me know they made it and all that stuff. Okay, we will catch you next week, and be good. Keep trying.